Tonight's Bar Rescue After Show, Punk as a Drunk.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
If you get in trouble.
Hello, Bar Rescue fans. Keven Undergaro here with tonight's Bar Rescue After Show. As you can see, I'm at the bar alone. No Dorinda, no Gabby, no Mia, no Lisa Marie Joyce, but we did get to see Lisa Marie Joyce tonight on this episode of Punk as a Drunk, featuring the Triple Nickel Tavern. I don't know how Bar Rescue is going to be able to sustain this, because just in the opening recon, when John walks in and throws all the water in the guy's face, I'm speechless, because I know that finally there's security there, but the security's still feet away. And the fact that guy took it like a champ, and I give him a lot of credit, JJ Gruder, for taking that, especially while you're drinking. But anyway, I thought just ballsy on John again, as always, and just another great moment. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know how much longer they can keep raising the bar and raising the stakes of the show. John just makes such good television. And I know his goal is to fix the bar and fix the people, but man, I couldn't believe it. Now, the guy, sure, it seemed like he deserved to have the pitcher of water thrown in his face, but the fact that he did that, ballsy. So anyway, Triple Nickel Tavern. It's another punk bar. We know those don't always work out so well for John, because we had the walkout of the other punk bar. But this one, you felt like it had to go different. Although with the previews, seeing all the stuff we saw, I thought for sure we were going to see another punk. No pun intended. And I thought for sure that this was going to be disastrous. And then only to find out, not so much. We see in recon, we see Lisa Marie Joyce, who I mentioned earlier, and let's see, who else was there? Jason Santos, who was a chef, but it was good. They went with, he obviously had the colored hair. So, as John had said, I brought people who could relate to you people, or something like that I think anyone else would have been offended by. But I got what he was saying. And Lisa Marie was perfect. In fact, last week, Ashley would have been great for these guys. But recon with Lisa Marie and Jason in the SUV, and they're seeing basically Mo, Larry, Curly hijinks. I mean, we have two childhood friends who were just fucking with each other, which was hilarious. And then when it got to the point where the guy was on the ground and really being humiliated, well, that's where John obviously had to step in. So, and that's what we got. I'm starting to know. I think if I was drinking watching the show, I think that would be the moment that you drink, when John goes, "That's it, I've had enough," and he just snaps, and he storms out of the SUV and enters in. But we see a manager that seems like his heart's in the right place, but a boss who's goofing around, and the staff that's goofing around, and but the bones of the bar weren't bad. The bar itself wasn't bad. The outside, the inside. I mean, yes, I know Lisa Marie had mentioned some things, messaging. You didn't know quite what it was, but it wasn't as bad. Certainly wasn't nearly as bad as what we've seen. And the inside of the bar, same thing. Decent, and you have to remember too that because they're filming, the lighting that is used to film is different from the lighting in the bar. So a lot of your favorite bars too, I think, when all the lights would be turned on, you'd be horrified at what you'd see. But because these have all the mood lighting's taken away and white lights put in to shoot, these places look even worse. So, and by the way, when we do the renovations, it's the same white lighting and not even the mood lighting. So as much as you like the renovations you see, they probably look 10 times better in person. But the bones are pretty good, and the kitchen I noticed too that they don't use. The equipment was really expensive equipment in there, and kind of maintained okay. So it was interesting. It was just an interesting episode because it wasn't as bad. Yes, their shenanigans and nonsense was terrible, but the place wasn't as bad as we've seen, or you would think for that kind of management. John comes in, throws a drink in this guy. He throws a pitcher in this guy's face, and the guy takes it, and he makes the guy get on the ground. And again, I think it's smart that the guy did that. Why not? Get a free bar, get on the ground. But I also think I was surprised he did. And as we peel layers away, we see he's dealt with a lot of loss, like crazy. Sister, 34, died of cancer. Mother, 2 years later, cancer. And then his older brother, leukemia, and perishes. So it's, there's definitely some real things going on there where, he's saying he's basically quit. We find out that the triple nickel is based on his dad's squad from fighting in Korea, which is kind of cool. So you knew right there John wasn't going to change the name. There's no way. And John has too much respect for military. So you knew that things were going to stay. I liked also the fact that, I'm a big LMJ mark. I love me some Lisa Marie. Love me some Mia. Love me some Phil Wills. A little shout out to Phil Wills next week. Back to the bar, which I don't believe we'll be doing an after show for, but I'm tuning in, and I think Phil gets into it with some of the people, which is awesome because Phil don't play. So I love about him, just like Mia and Lisa Marie don't. But Lisa Marie on this one, I just love her and Mia just for they've such great poise and stature, and they both hold themselves so tall in when they're working with John. And I know that's John because he's all about empowering women, but you can tell. And to see where Lisa Marie was from where she started to now, it's so fun to watch. I love the fact that, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I love the fact that when we did the stress test, she called out the two regulars, because we've seen this before where the regulars of bars, it's a catch-22 with regulars. The one hand, they're giving your place a pulse. They're keeping your place going. But on the other hand, they're the ones who don't like change. They don't want new people in there. They're very territorial. So it's a slippery slope to navigate. And I loved how Lisa Marie found two guys that were purposely going out of their way to knock everything and knock the new people coming in. We knew this place was not a welcoming place for females at all. I saw Lisa Marie flip in the car when they were referring to a couple of customers in a not so nice way, female customers. I saw her really freak out, so I thought it was funny. But she goes over to these two regulars and she says, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, this guy's trying to redo his business, and you think he's going to be able to stay in business if it's just you guys?" They go back and forth with her, and then it was great. I just love how she went over John. She goes, "I have a problem over here." And, normally the stress test doesn't go there. Normally the stress test is about the owner and the staff and beating the crap out of them. But because I love this show, I love the producing, I love how they're not afraid to take a left turn. And, they got into it with the two guys. And then John came over. And I thought it was great that JJ came over and said, "Guys, listen, if kick rocks." He had some statement. I don't know. I guess I'm not cool enough to know. So something about kick rocks or whatever. But he basically said to him, "You cut the shit or get out of here," which I thought was cool. But I really love Lisa Marie in that moment, taking them down, and then going reporting into John and going, "Look, this is the problem over here, and we got to get rid of these guys." And It was very cool. No one knows anything on the menu. Not a surprise. In the punk world, it's tough because that whole world is about anti-establishment. It's about not giving a fuck. But how do you have a successful business when you're anti-establishment and you don't give a fuck? It's tough. It's real tough. This kid was more human, though. J.D. Gruder, you could tell. He wasn't so far off the deep end. Just the way he talked about his parents and his family. He wasn't so far gone like the other guy, you know. And the other guy came from money, from what we understand, the bar in the whatever black light district. And that's why he could just kind of play around with someone else's money. This guy was smarter and more open-minded. And, you know, it's hard because I'm here alone. So it's like I don't have anyone to play off of. But just cutting right to it, when they ultimately decided to make it a rock and roll bar, I was like, this is a no-brainer. It's still music, but now your wider music, just like John was trying to say to the other guy, it's wider music, a wider array of music, and therefore you can serve a wider audience. And it was the bones of the club are great, you know. And I also love that the band that played for the stress test, I believe, or for the recon, was actually pretty good. Like, I thought, you know, we've had these places in the past that have had the worst bands play, and have been hilarious, but the band was actually pretty good. But JJ wasn't really focused on them, and I'm curious, as this all unfolds, you know, will he get more into booking? Like, I'm surprised John didn't really get into that. I think John really wanted to fix him, and he said that too. John verbalized it too. He's like, I'm not going to let this die for you. I'm not going to let your father's name go down. I think John just felt so bad when you have that much death around you, you know, with this guy. I get where the interest was even greater. And John just kept saying, I'm not going to let it die. But John didn't get into, I thought he'd get into booking and bookings of rock shows and booking of other shows and being more engaged in the booking end, because J.J. Gruder obviously knows music because he's been around it. But as I said, John was just so uber focused on this guy in this bar. And then to me, it was a no-brainer when it gets turned around that it was going to work. His dad, you know, the manager wasn't very knowledgeable, but he had heart. And he started to cry, you know, which I thought was sweet, you know, when it came to talking about the business and what he wants to do. And John, in his sit down, works that out, gets JJ out of the picture, and so this kid can focus more. And the best friend was hilarious, fighting in the bar and all that stuff. But they've been friends since they were 14 or 15. You can just see how all this goes. It's just, it's not hard. It might be hard to imagine to other people, but it's not to me, because I've seen this before with my own friends. So I kind of get it. But when we talk about remodel, I loved it. I loved the sign was a lot sharper. I love the messaging outside to let them know what it was. And then when you went inside, just kind of spruced the place up and cleaned it up a little bit. It was interesting. His dad was, you could tell I felt like it was kind of a hard ass. You know, he was like, they changed a lot, which is okay, or something like that. He didn't seem like he was jumping for joy over much. And anyway, that's a whole other discussion about the father and son. Their relationship looked interesting. Like, I think the son was rebelling against the father, but then also secretly wanted the dad to embrace him. And, you know, I think the dad, you know, Korean War vet, kind of a hard guy. So, but interesting anyway. And like I said, I can only base it off of, 20 seconds of footage. But anyway, the place gets done over and is amazing. And I kind of knew it was going to go that way. From what I look at on Bar Rescue updates, mostly positive reviews. You know, a couple of negatives, but the negatives felt like it came from the diehards, the regulars. And then something kept coming up about the bar top, them not liking it and replacing it. So even when I saw it something that looked really nice, but it may not last, or it might be harder to clean. As I saw it, it was like the black top with the texture. But But that looked like another successful rescue. And I don't chalk another one up for the books. This one, we go to every time you get the video at the end too, it's a good sign. So we've got the video of the manager and everything's better and so on and so forth. So I don't know, not a successful rescue, not a wackadoodle, just not a wackadouche, a semi-douche. But we got him there. And next week is going to be back to the bar, which we're going to, we usually get the gamut. We won't be doing an after show for that. Just tough to do them. But I know there's many of the back to bars coming, thank God. So we get to catch up with our favorite, not so favorite people. So when we come back with a new bar rescue, is anyone's guess, because Spike just kind of puts them out there when they want to. But I promise you, we will be back with Gabby, Durinder, Mia, Lisa Marie Joyce, and anyone else you could imagine. Keep sending us your questions and comments on YouTube, but also on iTunes. And you can tweet me at Undergaro. And check out the Tomorrow Show every now and again. And I have more people around me. And I get to drink and act like JJ Gruder. Act like the idiot. I just need John to come in and throw a pitcher of water in my face. Anyway, you guys, we will be back doing another bar rescue soon. Please tune in to Back to the Bar next week, as I will. So I'm sure we'll be talking about it on the show. And until then, peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.